Hi, my name is Brian. Welcome to another episode of Everything Suffolk. We're joined today by Dr. Sylvia Diaz, Deputy County Executive of Health and Human Services, as well as the President and CEO of Island Harvest, Randi, Shubin, Dresner, and as always, our County Executive, Ed Romaine. Today we're talking about food insecurity, what Suffolk County does, what your not-for-profit does. I hear we're doing something in Brentwood on the Sisters of St. Joseph campus. I'm not sure if you want to get into that a little bit.
Absolutely. First, I want to thank you for allowing me to join you on this great podcast and to talk about food insecurity. I know that this is a topic that's of great importance to you, to both of you. You've talked about it for years, about how important this is.
No one should go hungry.
Right.
No one should go hungry. And Randy's organization does a great job in helping feed those with limited incomes and limited access to healthy food. She does a great job in promoting that. You know, I'm county executive and I've watched government work for a long time, and there's a lot of good things that government does. But the great thing is there are many not-for-profits out there that lend their muscle to all the efforts that government is trying to do to make a better society. And oftentimes these not-for-profits are far more effective than government can be, and they are our partners. And one of them is Island Harvest. Because when you think about people going hungry, when you think about children not having enough nutrition or not getting fresh fruit or vegetables, I mean, I know this is what Randy emphasizes and makes sure not only that you have enough to eat, but that it's balanced. It's not all junk food, and that's important. So, I mean, Island Harvest does a fabulous job. There's a number of not-for-profits that work in this field, and they all have different models. Mm-hmm. But the bottom line is all the same. Feeding those who are hungry. We're one of the wealthiest countries in the world. No one should go hungry in this country. And what that means is that we need private donations and individuals to give of themselves, understanding that they're helping their neighbors. We need not-for-profits that are successful and can deliver. And we need government.
I think no time is it more pressing than right now during Thanksgiving. We're coming into the holiday season. Is Island Harvest doing anything, given that we're coming into the holiday season?
You know, we look at every day as a disaster.
Yeah.
If you're struggling with food insecurity, you're living in a disaster 24/7. And people throughout the year are interested in getting involved and to supporting our organization, but more so during the holiday season. And Island Harvest is working each year with 300 community-based nonprofit organizations. That's where we give a large portion of the food we're distributing in the community. Through them, it gets out into the community directly, and then we have our own direct service programs. During the holiday times, we sort of work on two sides of the issue of food insecurity. First, we look at the general community. They want to get involved. That's the time of year that people are thinking about giving back. And while people are hungry all year round, it's the time of the holidays that people think about, how can I get involved, how can I help? This year, our goal is to collect and distribute over 23,000 turkeys to the community. That means donations of turkeys from individuals and from corporations, from community groups. But for every turkey we distribute, it means that a family is getting an opportunity to have a healthy meal and sort of be like everybody else. And that's why this holiday season is important. It's important for us to be able to accomplish that kind of a goal. We'll distribute well over 240,000 pounds of cans and packaged goods that go with it. We call it a turkey and trimmings campaign. But if you are food insecure during the holiday season, then July and April and September, those are all months that you're hungry as well. So our organization is working all year round to work to end food insecurity and also at the same time continue to distribute food into the community. So how do we work to end food insecurity? Well, we have to look at what are the root causes. Why are people hungry? why is there an issue of food insecurity in our community, and what tools can we put into our toolbox to help people combat some of those root causes of food insecurity. And so
In
those
terms
are the
of some
things
of
that we're doing.
Root causes, though, Dr. Diaz, some of the departments you oversee, they meet some of
Absolutely.
these, systemic causes of food insecurity head on. I don't know if you could talk a little about that, some of the maybe
Sure.
programs.
So Department of Social Services provides funding through the nutrition food stamps program.
The SNAP
The
program.
SNAP program, right. And so many of our constituents actually qualify for those resources, but many do not. And that's kind of what we're talking about. We're talking about those that are food insecure that do qualify for food stamps. Food stamps don't often go far enough. And then you have sort of the marginal folks who kind of fall between the cracks, working poor and other folks who, with inflation in particular now, they're just not making ends meet. And so while we provide some resources, it's important that organizations like Island Harvest are actively working in the field, ensuring that that some of those gaps are being closed.
So we work with the community to identify people who are SNAP eligible and help them become enrolled in the program. We work with the Department of Social Services to help mediate some of the issues when people are denied coverage. And then to Dr. Diaz's point, sometimes SNAP just isn't enough to make ends meet. There could be families that are just pulling in $23 a month. And while that's great because it helps buy maybe the milk and eggs and a few other things, it's still not enough to feed their family. And so that's where we need to get more involved. We've created programs like workforce development, where we're actually teaching important skills to people, and they're earning good credentials, and then we help place them into jobs. And we have a coaching program where we'll stay with them for a year after they're placed to make sure that they're doing well at work. We have nutrition programs where we're embedded in hospitals and health clinics with an Island Harvest dietitian. And when a patient is identified as food insecure, they'll be referred to the Island Harvest dietitian. And we meet with them for up to 12 weeks to help them understand the connection between chronic health conditions, the foods they're eating, the medicines they're taking, and while it's important to really understand they're all connected. And those are just a few examples of some of the tools we put in our toolbox to support and supplement programs like SNAP so that we could really make sure that people have whatever they need for good, wholesome foods for their families and for themselves.
And if I understand correctly, food insecurity doesn't necessarily correlate to income. I mean, someone who maybe live in a nice neighborhood or something, your neighbors could still be food insecure. I don't know if you could talk about any anecdotes or anything like that.
Let me give you a story. I met a woman. I was actually taking my dog to the vet, and a woman recognized me and told me a story that in her neighborhood, she lived in a very wealthy community. And every day around 4 o'clock, a young girl who she hadn't met before would show up at her door to play with her kids. And after about a week or two, because she would ask the little girl if she wanted to stay for dinner or if she wanted to take some food home with her. And she started to look into the family and had found out that her parents had both lost their jobs. They had literally sold everything that they had in their house. They were sleeping on the floor, but they had to keep up the image of living in that community. So it's to your point, food insecurity exists in every community. Look, during the pandemic, we had people showing up in very fancy cars on our food lines because people suddenly lost their jobs. They had their car, they had their house, but they couldn't afford it any longer.
It just occurred to me, we're throwing around the term food insecurity. What is food insecurity? What does that term specifically mean?
So we used to use the term hunger exclusively, and we started to use the term food insecurity to define people who had difficulty maintaining good, healthy, nutritious food for a period of time. And so that's the term that we use, food insecurity.
Yes, and when you talk about accessing food in terms of good and nutritious food, one of the challenges is that sometimes those foods tend to be a little bit more expensive. So one of the programs that the county executive was supporting this year in his budget is a Nourish Suffolk program, which is a pilot program, first ever locally, I think, but there is a Nourish New York program whereby we would provide local farmers with some funding to make fruits and vegetables and other agricultural products available to some of the folks who utilize these services.
At one time, Suffolk County was the #1 agricultural county in terms of dollar value, not in terms of acreage farmed. But we still have a great number of farms, particularly in the North Fork. And one of the things that's so important is to try to support our farming industry. And Randi does that, and that's great. I would wish that many of our school lunch programs, because we have 69 school districts in Suffolk County, would utilize local farms. So, well, you've heard the phrase farm to table.
Right.
I'd like farm to school.
It's complicated.
So that you go into the school cafeteria and not. I remember when I was very young, the school cafeteria was
Scary.
it was a different atmosphere. But now I think to nourish and nutrition and vegetables and fruit are something that we should promote in our schools. And I know Randi does that through her program, which is very helpful because it's not only filling your stomach and ending hunger pains, it's what you put in. Right. And the more good stuff that we can, because there's a lot of junk food out there.
Well, you're right, Ed. So if we could fill bellies with healthy food, it's better than just filling bellies.
Right.
This Nourish Suffolk program is incredible. It is the first of its kind, we think, as well. And so with funding that will go to Island Harvest, we're going to be able to support a lot of farmers who really are struggling. And all of the food that we purchase are going to stay right here in Suffolk County and feed our residents good, healthy, nutritious produce, which is awesome.
How would residents take advantage of that program?
So we work with a number of nonprofit organizations. So some of that product will go through our member agencies out to the community, and some of it will go through our direct service work. So we have programs in elementary schools where we call it the Youth Produce Project, where our dietitians go in and teach kids about healthy foods and bring the food. I could tell you one time I had visited one of our programs and we were bringing oranges. And there was a 9-year-old boy that picked up the orange and he took a spoon and he was stabbing at it. I asked him what he was doing. He said he never held an orange before in his hand and didn't know how to open it. So he was trying to use the spoon. That's why we have these kinds of programs, because we need to teach kids where healthy food comes from, what it tastes like, how it's grown, because the more we get kids involved in that, the more they're going to want to eat it. And this program is going to help us support that kind of educational program as well.
And of course, nutritious food leads to better health outcomes. We know those are social determinants of health. And we can, anticipate that we'll see a reduction in illness.
Down the road, that's what happens. Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely, and it's something that I'd like to continue to build on. This is my first year as county executive, and you learn a lot, and you know what works and what doesn't work. And this is a program that works, that helps. And I'd like to expand this program as much as I possibly can within, whatever financial restraints that we have, but to make a commitment because this is a program for good.
For us at Island Harvest, it starts with commitment and belief. And there is no question about it that this administration really cares about its citizens and wants to make sure that everybody is fed properly and appropriately and has access to food. That's what it's all about for us. And so working with both of you particularly on Nourish Suffolk County accomplishes such an important goal. And we're going to feed a lot of people. They're going to get to learn about fresh fruits and vegetables, and we're going to be helping farmers who really care about their product that they grow. They want to stay on Long Island and grow their produce, and this is going to help that.
So, absolutely. So,
It's
I
awesome.
talked to a farmer like Mr. Schmidt.
Oh,
Yep, from Schmidt's Farms out in Riverhead on Roanoke and North Road. Absolutely. I know most of the farmers, having represented that area a while back, many years ago in the legislature, and I am so interested in trying to promote farms and preserve farmlands because development pressure has so reduced the amount of acreage that we have in farming. I want to make sure that we always have a very large farming section so that we have access
it's
to
important.
fresh food, and fruits, vegetables.
Keep the traditions of Suffolk County,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. We lose our farmers, we lose our ability to feed ourselves.
It's true.
There is a program, I think we touched on it, I don't think we named it, the Commodity Supplemental Food Program. I don't know if you could go into that a little bit more. I understand that there are some openings for people who may qualify.
This is a really special program. It's federally funded. The funds go through the state. We were awarded a contract which was just increased. And so if senior citizens have an income of under $1,600, and I believe it's $1,638 a month, they're over 60 and they live in New York, they're eligible for the program. And once they're eligible, they could get this product for up to 3 years. It's a box filled with over 35 healthy items. Most of them are shelf stable. And so it may be canned vegetables, canned fruit, canned meats, some grain product, shelf stable dairy, and a number of other things. And this is a program where we're actually hand delivering it to each of the seniors that are eligible for this program. So in addition to all the other work that we're doing, we're distributing 20 million pounds of food a year across Long Island. This program, we use volunteers, corporate teams, individuals, and staff. And every day we're delivering hundreds, if not thousands, of boxes so that we could accomplish our goal of 8,000 seniors a month. And the complicated thing for us is if I'm delivering it to a senior and the senior says, you know what, I have enough still from last month, I don't want it this month, then we need to find another senior to take that box because we're required to distribute those boxes each month. So we're gearing up to 8,000. It'll take us another couple of months to get there. Right now we're about 5,000 boxes a month. And so we go to some communities that are low income. We're looking for groups. It's easier to go to an apartment building where there are 10, 15, 20, 30 seniors that are eligible than going one off and one off because it's pretty expensive for us to do these deliveries.
Well, let me tell you should definitely take a look
Yeah.
at Section 8202 housing.
Okay.
Those are the senior housings that were built many years ago. Everyone that qualifies for that is making very limited incomes. And that's like St. Joseph's Village.
Yes.
Right.
Avery Village. There's
Yeah.
multiple in Brookhaven, which I'm familiar with, having been a supervisor. But that's true in every town.
Yeah.
And you probably have about 20 of those, and each one of them, you figure somewhere between 150 and 200, like Cabrini Village in Coram. So you could visit them. They usually have a community meeting room,
That's
and
exactly
you can
right.
bring the food there. That would make your job very easy.
It certainly would.
I would tell you to think about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll check that out. Some of them may be part of our distribution route,
Right.
but we'll look further into it. We need to get our numbers up.
The other one is some towns, not Brookhaven, but some towns have housing authorities, like Islip.
Yes.
So you may want to contact there.
Yeah, we're in
because
touch with them.
they have a lot of senior housing as well.
Yeah.
And that makes it easy because then you have 20, 25 stops a month, but you're delivering to 100, 150,
Exactly.
200 seniors.
Exactly. The state's identified that there are about 9,000 seniors on Long Island that are eligible. And so we're working to find all of them. so that we could bring this food to them and keep this program going. It's really
Do
important.
they help connect you to those individuals, or do you have to go out and find them? It's an estimate.
Yeah, we're working on going out and finding them.
Okay.
So we're working with a lot of elected
Understood, yeah.
officials to identify them.
This is why not-for-profits are so helpful, because sometimes they can do the work that government can't do,
Yeah.
like going out. But if I can help in any way, I do a monthly newsletter. If I can put that out
It's great.
and call attention to that, I absolutely will.
Terrific. Appreciate
Because I
that.
want every senior to have that who has, and that's a pretty limited income, 1,600.
Terrible.
How much?
1638, that's
1638.
everything. So they have to pay for their rent, their clothes, their
Right.
food,
Yeah, it's
their
almost
medicals,
impossible.
everything. You know, and we talked about children.
Yeah.
We talked about senior citizens. We really look to targeting some populations so that it helps us to identify the right foods for the right people at the right time. Our veterans program is another one that we're really particularly proud of. We call it
Absolutely.
Operation Hope. The program is run by, coordinated by a veteran on staff at Island Harvest, because there's an ability to communicate if you're talking peer to peer. And so when we know we could send a veteran in to support a veteran, we know we could learn more about what the needs are and find those resources so that we can help that veteran. I have one story of a veteran who we had an appointment to go meet, and our staff person had gone to the door, rang the bell, but the vet was a little hesitant, didn't want to come out because he didn't trust. He needed the food and the services we were bringing, but he was nervous and didn't trust. And so our vet went in the car, made the phone call and said, "Hey, I'm the vet. I'm the one that made the appointment with you."
Mm-hmm.
And so the man sent his dogs out first. And then he waited a few seconds, a few minutes, and then he came out, brought 2 chairs, and they sat together. And we were able to learn more about this veteran and make the referrals to the appropriate services that he really needed. And so this is what it's all about, really identifying what the needs are in the community, and then how do we come up with the right services, the right program, so we could bring it as close to the person in need as we could possibly get.
You could work with our Human Services Division, working specifically with Office of the Aging. We have the ISEP program where we're providing in-home care. Many of those elderly folks are, income, challenged, and also our Veteran Services program. So we'll make sure we make those connections. We do an assessment in terms of income for those seniors. So that we can route them into the right programming. So we probably have a pretty good list of folks who are eligible for those those
Awesome.
services.
Good.
We'll take care of that.
Once we get built up with some of these programs, we'll invite you in. You can help us deliver some of these boxes and get one-on-one with some of the people that we're helping in the community.
That's great.
Great. Well, thank you so much for making us so aware of the really good work that
Appreciate it.
Island Harvest is doing, and you're doing, Randy. Thank you.
Appreciate it. We appreciate the partnership with the county. It's clear that you really care and that you really believe, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
My
Thank you both for
pleasure.
your time.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.